So, one of the areas that for me personally was really tough to sort of get over during this whole divorce process and the recovery afterwards was the fact that um, I had a very huge part. Um, I was to blame for how everything went down. I'll explain. Um, I've shared this before, but it bears repeating because I have encountered um, people who are still blaming everything on the other party. And and this is not to discount that the relationship, because I speak about toxic relationships, right? Abusive relationships. I'm not talking about just where it's just you're having a hard time because you're both human beings and you have different thought patterns and things like that. But I'm talking about where it's actually toxic and abusive. For the most part, um, we like to blame the other person and we don't take full responsibility of our part. So for me, what that looked like was going all the way back, even before we got married. Um, there were clear signs that I wouldn't be able to get what I need um, from my ex to sustain a relationship. We all have different needs. Yes, there's the general principles of a relationship, right? Communication, respect, and all these things. But each of us um, have a different way we interpret those things. So that if, for example, for me, respect, and this is just a random example, respect means that someone should call me Mrs. in my marriage and not by my first name. And for someone else, that doesn't matter. What matters is um, maybe the tone of your voice, for argument's sake. So we all have different ways we receive these things. That's why there's 5 love languages. I hope everyone knows their love language because that really aids a relationship. Anyway, I digress. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to get, very early on, I wouldn't be able to get what I need to sustain me in a relationship. Not just what I want, but what I need. I wouldn't be able to get that from my ex because he was very, you know, um, truthful about himself. He never hid anything from me. But what I did was go in, you know, ready to change him. And we do that most of the time, especially as women. But men are culprits as well. We go into a relationship ready to change the other person and turn them into what we want. And I know there's a school of thought where it's said that the perfect partner doesn't exist. You have to mold your partner into what you want them to be. It's a very slippery slope. I understand sort of where it comes from because we're not all we're all works in progress, right? But when you get into a relationship with a person, you must be at a place where even if they never ever change, you will be able to live with them and be okay with that. Because what if they never do change? Everyone wants to be accepted the way we are. That, I think that's the biggest need of being in a relationship, to be accepted just as I am, just like Christ did for us. He accepts us just as we are, and he loves us just as we are. Of course, he helps us grow, but he doesn't force that growth on us. He encourages us to grow, but he doesn't force it. And he doesn't say, if you don't grow, then I'll never love you, then I can't be with you. No, he loves us just as we are. And that should be the basis of a relationship. You love the person as is. If they never ever change, you're able to love them and it not be a burden on you to be with them. Yeah, so going back to how I started this conversation, I didn't do that. I went in ready to change my ex-husband. How unfair is that? So I was also being very abusive to him because I kept on wanting to mold him into what I wanted, which is not fair. And so that's something that I would like us to think about today. What part did you play in causing the abuse in the relationship? And this doesn't take away from the fact that there could be real neglect, real belittling, real demeaning, real devaluing in the relationship. I'm not undermining that. What I am trying to do is give you back your power. You feel right now like you've lost your power, but there's a place where you lost it. And if we trace back our steps, you'll be able to get back your power from there and forge ahead. So the purpose of this conversation is to remind you to retrack and see where you lost your power and get it back from there. Yeah? Alrighty. I love you. I am praying for you. But even more importantly, God loves you. And He wants the best for you. But you have to do your part. You have to do your part and do the work of, where did I go wrong? What do I need to make this right? You're not a victim. You're only a victim if you allow yourself to think that way. We're never victims. Never. Alrighty. Take care.